Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another TV series review. This is straight from FX, and we are talking about Kindred. Now, I'm gonna give you a baseline of the synopsis for it. A young aspiring writer discovers secrets about her family's past when she finds herself mysteriously being pulled back and forth from time from the 19th century plantation, which is insane. I have here co-host here, Natasha. What's going on, Nat?
Ah, this show. I
Yeah,
don't know what to make of it. I wasn't sure what to expect from this show because the pilot was just not hitting, and then it got better.
it got a lot better. It got to the point that we watched the first episode together maybe about a month ago, roughly.
It was a
And
struggle.
we both were kind of apprehensive because I had an issue with Antebellum. I didn't want to see a lot of torturous things happening to us as a people or it being exploited in a certain kind of way. But I think one of the things that enticed me about it was Nat was talking to me about the person that wrote it. Can you speak a little bit about the writer and just her connection to this story?
Oh well, it's she's kind of like the queen of Afro science fiction, Octavia Butler. So this is, I want to say, one of the first like features. I'm pretty sure this is like one of the first things that of her works that has been like produced and shown to us like in a TV format and or a movie format. And so I want to say this is a one-off. She has written other series, definitely featuring, I want to say, aliens and even time travel like this. And so I haven't read this one, but I did like spoil myself, so I kind of know what happens. But I did read another one of her books. I can't remember the name of it, but I just remember enjoying it, and it was like a really long time ago when I read it. So Octavia Butler is like the queen. I want to say she's very admired by several readers, especially when you think of characters that feature us in like a science fiction format
Yeah.
or like even like a fantasy format. So that's the only reason why I gave this show a shot, because it deals with slavery. So I'm like, you know what? I'm still gonna watch it because of this author.
Right. And I mean, again, we went to the first episode. I was really skeptical about whether or not I wanted to move forward with it because the beginning of the episode kind of starts with um, this certain individual here. This Mallory Johnson played the role of Dana. Dana is a writer. She's lost both her parents and she's moved into the family house. She's got an aunt, she's got an uncle, she's got family around her, but she just didn't want their help. She was really entitled. She just really seemed very naive to her core, to the point that I was like very frustrated in the beginning of the episode. But very quickly, things start to change, and the worst case scenario happens to her while she just is on a date with another person, and the other person names Kevin. Kevin, Kevin just all of a sudden sees the person he was dating just vanish in front of his eyes, and he's left with the understanding that something is not right. And I think that coming off the first episode intrigued me to see where this was going to go. But I mean, I think we can both say that after the first episode, going into the second episode, we just couldn't kind of stop. We wanted to continue. I think it's a combination of different things. I think it's that the story is very engaging because you don't know where things are going to go. You know that there are certain truths that are a mystery, literally because of time and because of certain people. But Nat, what are some of the things you feel like are really strong positives about why you want to continue watching this?
I think I just want to see where this goes. And of course, because I spoiled myself, kind of like what they changed.
Mm,
Um, because one of the things they did change was the dynamic of Dana and Kevin's relationship.
interesting.
So seeing a different aspect, especially what he experiences,
Mm,
from what we've seen so far versus what you know occurred in the book, is interesting. I didn't think I was gonna. I thought I was like, why did they change it? And now I'm like thinking, well, maybe this could work.
right.
um, Because at the end of the day, he's a white guy in the
Right.
present that seems progressive, and he's involved with someone that is transported in the past. And it's kind of like where, especially, it's not just any past. It's the past is like kind of like one of the worst things about American history, if you really want to
Right.
think about it. It's about when we were slaves. We were treated less than human.
Yep.
We were treated as property. And so just even believing what she went through and just like not dismissing her experience is so important to this.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of like team Kevin, so to speak.
I mean, look, he's a ride or die, because I'm gonna say it like this: if I was just randomly dating some girl and I'm a struggling musician, I'm okay. Date this
Barely
girl,
hating.
all of a sudden she just disappears, and then she comes back, and you realize what's happening, and you're like, any sane person maybe would be like, okay, this is a red flag. I might need to dip, and you might need to go to a hospital, But he was like, no, like, I'm gonna protect you. No, like, I'm not gonna leave you. And yeah, for his own self-interest, like, I mean, him sitting there looking like he possibly abused her or something happened to her, it does look bad on him. But more importantly, he didn't want something bad to happen to her. And so from his lens, seeing how slavery was, I think that was very important, because it changes the dynamic of everything, where it's like she's trying to understand the why and is accepting it, but she also has to accept that she sees a person of her past there that is a big part of who she is that she never had. And I don't want to spoil it if you hadn't seen it yet, but with him seeing all the different acts of slavery and the malicious things, like when we got to about episode 3 and he started seeing certain stuff, I was like, this is very fascinating. This is messed. I'm mad as a black man. I'm mad, but it's more interesting for him as a person that's knowing this is not right, and absolutely, what is he supposed to do? Like, how does he navigate, conversation? How does he kind of protect her and himself without being exposed, essentially? Um,
And that's not to take away with what Dana is experiencing, because this
right,
is still a mystery. We still don't know why,
right,
because we haven't finished watching the series. We still don't know what's the point. What is this connection that she seems to have? Why is she coming back to the past as many times as she does?
right,
And the time difference between the present and the past.
right.
Because that's another interesting dynamic to this too, which makes it intriguing. Because you think that more time may have passed since you're in the past, right?
Yep.
But when you get back to the present, it's kind of like,
It's been a few seconds, if
I'm
that.
confused. So, and some of the twist that's been happening here is kind of like, where are y'all going with this? I know, I have an idea, but it's just seeing how it's going to play out. Is still intriguing enough for me to keep watching.
Yeah.
Which again, after the pilot, I wasn't so sure.
Right,
'Cause
right.
some
I
of the
was looking
decisions
like
that
how
Dana was
how Dana's
making.
looking right now is how I was thinking.
No, yeah, so yeah, that's so yeah, because I was like, I think it was Todd. I was watching it with us. I was like, dude, I don't know about this. I
it,
don't
it can
know
go
about.
left or right, one way or another. But
Yeah,
I
no, Dana was making decisions that I was just like, what are you doing?
yeah, and she still at times makes very intentional, dangerous calls that
Mm,
puts everybody at risk. And it's even more interesting her relationship with Rufus, this young little boy that's the slave owner's son. And I mean, without spoiling too much, they have a very interesting connection. And he is very connected to her, and she, knows that she is, but it's kind of like, how does she navigate that relationship? Because it parallels her relationship with Kevin. Like, her relationship with Kevin, he's a progressive man that's, he knows, right from wrong, but This kid has been indoctrinated, brainwashed into that this is reality, this is right. But this young girl, black girl, that most of the people that he's come in contact with are slaves, whether they're free or not, they're below. She's telling him something completely different, and he's drawn to her literally. And I think that that's going to be very fascinating to see where that goes, like how much their conversations, I guess, are left onto him, so to speak. I think that's where it gets very interesting with time. I don't know where this is going, and I'm intrigued. I'm very. I'm gonna have to finish it now. That's the whole point.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that um I want to say we're getting all the episodes, right? I'm pretty sure we're getting all the episodes on the
I think
13th.
all 8 episodes are dropping on December the 13th on Tuesday. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because they did the same thing with Riches, and Riches was a good show, and now you're doing the same thing with Kindred. I'm like, are you trying to say something, y'all? I don't know. Maybe
Right.
that's my conspiracy hitting. But
Right.
if y'all not really marketing it either, that's very telling. I'm just throwing it out there. And I just want to see where this ends, and I want to see if there's any growth with these characters. Because Dana frustrates me sometimes because, like you said, she's been making decisions, and I'm just like, what? Are you forgetting where you at, sis?
Right. It's kind of like she didn't even care. Like I was like, there was something she said to somebody, and I was like, would you even say that in present day? Like what are you thinking? Like, and I get it. Like, there's nothing wrong with speaking your mind. Everybody has free will to do that, and they should. But where the era that she's going back to, like, you're putting everybody, not just yourself, everybody that's a part of this plantation and around you in danger just off of your words. Like, I was kind of like, this is frustrating, but I get it. I'm intrigued. But let's close this out. I'm just gonna recommend you guys go and check it out. If you get past the first episode, I think you have something that is engaging enough that you want to see where the story goes. And I think that you have such interesting characters that are interwoven. Because even like using the plantation owner's wife, they could have made her a one note person. But then when you start to get sprinkles of why she acts the way she acts towards everybody, and then of course she's projecting onto slaves because she's looked at a certain kind of way. It's just every character is brought with their own little layer, and I think it's engaging to do in a miniseries. It's just weird. Do you think this is going to be multiple seasons, or you think this is going to be a miniseries?
I feel like because this is it's not a long book, so I think they could probably wrap this up in a season.
Yeah.
I just can't remember if this is the first book in a series. That's what I can't remember. But if it is, then they can at least move on to the next book. Kind of similar to Interview with the Vampire, only with Interview with the Vampire, they split it into 2 seasons. The book, what happens in the book. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, what would you rate this A to F from what you've seen so far?
I would say a C plus, only because Dana frustrates me. Her decision making, I don't know what else is going to happen. So some of the decision making that she's been making so far, I'm just like, I'm confused, and I'm going to go ad nauseum about that. So without really spoiling much, so that's the only reason why I give it a C plus, and plus the pilot was trash. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm same C plus to B minus. I'm leaning more towards the B minus because I feel like the first 10 minutes of Kindred was very interesting. And that's where I think the story is gonna conclude, so to speak, where Dana is in a completely different headspace. Like, she's in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued to see where that goes. So I think that she's gonna change over the course of the next few episodes, but I agree. I mean, it's really sometimes both of their decisions kind of frustrate me. But I think that's a part of the entertainment value of it. And it's enough to be like, okay, I need to see where it's gonna go. So B minus, C plus, take it or leave it with that. But go and check out Kindred. It comes out December the 13th, this Tuesday coming up. And we have a lot more coverage for different things coming on the horizon. Go and check out our Avatar review. That's going to be dropping sometime next week. We just dropped a review for Pinocchio, and a lot more things are coming, like Babylon as well. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Nat, thank you so much for joining.
All right, no problem. Yeah, of course. I'll watch the show.
Peace, people.
Bye.
Falling out the top of the I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on